We are joined right now by the head coach at USC. Hard to imagine, but he's in his 9th season now with the Trojans. He was the 2021 Pac-12 Coach of the Year. He led USC to the Elite Eight last year. USC is 25-4. That is their best start ever. Arizona is at USC tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific. Andy Enfield is my guest. Andy, it's been a moment or two, or maybe even an hour. It's good to have you back. How are you?
Oh, thank you. It's been great to be back here. I can't believe it's been 9 seasons here at USC, but we love our team right now, and we're excited.
Yeah, there's a lot to like, and I really do have a hard time believing that it's been 9 years, but it has been. Now, you're coming off a really huge road trip to Oregon. Let me start with Saturday's win over the Ducks, 70-69. Drew Peterson hit a three with just over 11 seconds left to win that game. What was running through you when you saw that shot leave his hand?
What happened so quickly, we ran a play for a football screen, and both defenders went with Isaiah Mobley, and Drew read it perfectly. He pulled up immediately when he had the open space and knocked down a big-time shot. So I guess what went through my mind as the ball was going through was what were you going to do defensively, because there's still 11 seconds left in the game.
I mean, there's that, Andy, and that's not an easy trip. Like, that win over Oregon came 2 days after your double overtime win in Corvallis on Thursday. You had a nice lead early in the game, then Oregon State got back in that game, and yet again, you found a way to get it done and win. In late February, on the road and grinding out tough conference wins like that, how important is that for your team?
Well, it's huge. I think our players have figured out how to win games. They're very mature, very experienced. Going to Elite Eight last year, I think we're 9-2 now on the road, 3-0 on neutral court. So we have a lot of wins away from the Galen Center this season, which is a credit to our players. They grind it out defensively for 40 minutes and play very hard and give ourselves a chance to be in the game.
We're talking to Andy Enfield, the head coach of USC. You know, you mentioned the Elite Eight run. You're doing all of this after you made that run and sent Evan Mobley to the NBA as the 3rd pick overall. Seems to me a lot of programs might take a step back after a run like that and losing a talent like that. But that's not what's happening right here. In fact, how do you explain that? Because you are none the worse for it.
Well, we were picked 6th in the league with Evan Mobley last year, and then went to Elite Eight. So our guys overachieved. They did a great job last year. We lost our 2 leading scorers, Evan, the 3rd pick, and then Taj Edey, who was an all-conference, averaged 14 a game. So without our 2 leading scorers this year, other players had a chance to step up and be relied upon more so than they were last year. And very proud of these guys. They've come together. It hasn't been the same player every night. I think we've won as a true team this year, offensively and defensively. And we beat UCLA 2 weeks ago without our leading scorer and rebounder, Isaiah Mobley. So that just shows you, I guess, how much this team has improved, and the guys are stepping up on different nights.
So I wonder, Andy, every single year is different, but for the guys who did come back, when you have a run like you did last year and you make it to the Elite Eight, did you notice that kind of collectively the players came back with a different attitude because of that experience?
Yes, I think we expect to win every game. We step on the court, they expect to win, and they play very hard. They play for each other, very unselfish on offense, and they play terrific defense. So there is a self-confidence about our players and our team right now, and I think that's earned over time. And the last few years, our guys have really done a great job.
All right, so 25-4, as I mentioned, is the best start in school history. You've won 72 games in the last 3 seasons. That ties the record that you set earlier in your career for the best 3-year run in school history. The rap in the past was, like a lot of football schools, that USC is a football school, and it's not a place where a basketball program is going to have success, much less thrive. So how much pride is there in you for changing that narrative?
There's a lot of pride. Our goal when we're named the coaches here 8.5, 9 years ago was to try to build this program and then try to sustain the success. It took us 3 years to turn it. We went to the tournament, NCAA tournament, our 3rd season here after being last in the conference, our first 2. Guys like Jordan McLaughlin, Chimezi Metsu, DeAnthony Melton were all in the NBA. That was the first wave of guys, and now we've had the second wave of guys come in. A lot of Southern California kids stayed home to try to build this program with us, and so we are so proud of our guys. It's not easy having UCLA across town as a blue blood program, but we always thought that there's no reason why Los Angeles can't have 2 really good basketball programs. And UCLA has always been good. They always will be. They get great players, great coaches. But we're just thankful and excited to be competing on the Pac-12 level and the national level here with everybody else, especially UCLA.
I want to say that, all right? The UCLA thing is a real thing. It's always going to be a real thing. It is UCLA. But when you mentioned the local level, regional level, but the national level, like I could go a step further. The only Power 6 programs with more wins than you over the past 3 years are Baylor and Kansas. So what does that say about where this program is nationally now?
Well, I think that's a really impressive stats for our players to be 72-21 the last 3 years, have the third best record in Power 6 conferences. Baylor, of course, won a championship. We played Kansas in the NCAA tournament last year. So to be mentioned with those elite programs, I think people nationally are starting to recognize what our players have done here the last few years, and it's nice to be recognized. We try to keep our guys very focused, though, because we know each game is very important for us, especially coming up here at the end of the season and the postseason. But that's a credit to our players. They made the commitment to come to USC and be the reason why we turned this program into a top 20, 25 basketball program on an annual basis. And so they deserve all the credit in the world.
USC college basketball coach Andy Enfield joins me for a few more moments. So what about Isaiah Mobley? He has been an absolute force this year. How much has his game grown from last year to this year?
Isaiah's really improved his strength, his balance. He finishes in the lane at a very high level. He's improved his three-point shooting dramatically. He's shooting 40% from the three. He went to the foul line the other night in a crucial situation, made 5 out of 6. His free throw percentage is over 75% now. So he's really improved everywhere in his game. He had 8 assists the other night, no turnovers against Washington last week. He's a great passer. He's a great rebounder. He can score the ball when he needs to. And he's a terrific defender. He's a legitimate All-American candidate across the country.
All right, so what about Evan Mobley? Meanwhile, he has been an absolute stud in his rookie year with the Cavs. You were saying last summer that he's just a winner. What do you make of how he's handled that transition to the NBA, and is there any part of you that's surprised at how easy he's making it look?
Well, we would love to have had Evan for 2 or 3 years and Onyeka Okongwu for more than 1 year, but those guys have done great, and Evan should get Rookie of the Year. Evan's just a winner, as you said. And I told every NBA team that called me last year that the guy just is a winner. He doesn't care about how many points he scores. He helps you defensively. He does all the intangibles. He's a hard worker. He's very understated he's not a loud guy in the locker room. He's just going to fit into any team, and he's doing that with the Cleveland Cavaliers with a lot of veterans and some younger guys. And he just goes out and plays basketball. He helps you win games, and that's what he did here at USC, and now he's doing it with the Cavaliers.
Hey, Andy, this is the awkward part of the conversation where I ask you a bit, because of all the success you've had, your name is going to be linked to a number of other jobs. What is your process for dealing with that?
Well, that's a credit to our players and assistant coaches I've had over the years, because we wouldn't be mentioned for certain things unless we were successful. And I have a terrific coaching staff. Coach Chris Kapko is my associate head coach. Eric Mobley and Jay Morris are assistants. And Jason Hart was my associate coach. I had a lot of great coaches here to help build this thing. And so that's the first thing I think of. And then our players. You're only as good as your players and your staff as the head coach. So to be linked to rumors out there, they are rumors right now because we're still in the middle of the season, or end of the season, I should say. We just had a huge road trip. We won 6 in a row. We play Arizona. We have a sold-out crowd tomorrow night at home, and then we play at Pauley Pavilion on Saturday before we go to the Pac-12 tournament. So as nice as that is for our program to be recognized as being successful, I'm not letting distractions and our staff. We're just focused on what we have to do here.
Hey, listen, I never met a coach that wanted to let anything distract anybody from what they're trying to get done. So I understand that. I respect that. I appreciate that. If you were to just take one step back, though, I'm kind of curious, like, where you are in your life, personally, professionally, in terms of your family. Like, it's so interesting because back in the day, Andy, it was always about the next thing, get to the next conference, the bigger paycheck, the bigger chance to win. But life has changed. Things are really different right now, the way people approach things, and especially coaches. Like, what is most important to you as you approach your career and your business and your job? What are the things, what are the priorities that matter most at this point in your life?
Well, I think I was an NBA assistant coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, so I had NBA experience before I came to college, and I really enjoy the college atmosphere. I love the college, the camaraderie. I enjoy recruiting young men and bringing them into a program, seeing them develop, and working with a coaching staff every single day. And it's more about the university. It's bigger than just your program when you're part of a university. And so I think that's a really cool thing. I think it's a lot different than the NBA. I was there. I had a great time when I was a younger coach, and now that I've been in college. I think the most important thing is to really recruit players that you want in your program, develop them, put them in the system to try to succeed, and then enjoy the moment and enjoy the camaraderie of the whole university around you.
I got it. So because it's been so long since you and I spoke, one last question. You do have Arizona at home tomorrow night. They're a game and a half ahead of you in first. What's your message then to the team about this game? Do you talk, for instance, about a chance to win a conference title, or do you approach it like it's just another game and the next one on the schedule?
Well, it's not just another game. We have a sold-out crowd here, and we've won 6 in a row. They're ahead of us. They beat us a few weeks ago in Tucson, a very close game where we had to lead late, and they made some key big shots. So this is not just another game because it means a lot in the Pac-12 standings and the national rankings. We're both ranked in the top 20, and I think we're 16th, and they're 2. So this is going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night, and our players will be ready to go compete.
I like that. I appreciate that because from the outside looking in, that does not feel like just another game. That feels like a really critical game and a big game for all involved. USC is 25-4. That is their best start in school history, and there's a big one at home tomorrow night against Arizona. That's 8 p.m. Pacific time. He is the head basketball coach at USC, Andy Enfield. Andy, really appreciate it. Glad we finally got caught up. Thanks so much for doing that.
Yeah, it's been great. Really appreciate you and what you've done over the years here. Thank you.
You got it, Andy. Thank you. Appreciate you, too.